you do that to your staff, they will never want to leave. So when they're behind their targets, even in sales, they will excel. Feedback in interviews. I think we've all experienced it. I think you've been on both sides of it as the employer. Sometimes hiring managers, we get it. You don't have time to feedback for everything. But what I would argue with any employer coming back, how are we going to adjust? How are we going to impress? How are we going to get the right people in front of you if you're not telling us what those right people look like? The world is constantly evolving. The way we go to market is constantly evolving. So that feedback is so, so important for us to react, to adjust, and to perform. If we're only as good as the information you as the client give us. If we're not given the right information, updated information, reasons for rejections, reasons we didn't like characters, personalities, skill sets, attitudes, that is how effective we can be for you, the customer.
The biggest bugbear for me is probably where people are basically asking for a Ferrari but wanting to pay for a Ford Fiesta. It's the best way to put it. They're basically saying, I want the top of the range, I want a 360 that can bill X amount a month, but I only want to pay...
Five years experience, 150k new business book.
150k new business book, but I only want to pay...
Can sell, and 25 grand budget.
25 grand budget, and then a very small comms package.
And then we got lead generators on 25 grand.
And we're like, okay, tell us how you want us to sell this to a candidate.
Yeah, unfortunately, this happens across the board. Big employers, small employers, white labels. Look, how can we advise customers what they should be paying? Because ultimately, their budgets are their budgets. But what I would say is be realistic in your growth plans. I think that all too often businesses aren't very realistic. It's like get 20 people in on 18k rather than actually get people in on a salary that people can actually afford to commute to work and buy the suits and not put the pressures in their lives that are actually going to make them fail.
Well, to be fair, that was one of the things that you put to a fair few people was like stop pulling them back to the minimum basic you can physically pay them and actually pay them a decent wage, so they're going to stay and not
look
just
after your staff,
stick at it for 3 months and then fuck off.
Give them something more to work for. Give them a reason to fight for their job when they are having their bad days. Guess what? Being kind to people, paying them right, respecting them, developing them. If you do that to your staff, they will never want to leave. So when they're behind their targets, even in sales, they will excel. Okay, but you set the tone of 18k, and you've got to work hard just to afford the basic requirements in life. You're failing. You as a management team, and you as a candidate.
And it also boils back to like loyalty between employer and employee, because if an employee is showing loyalty to the employer, it should be reciprocated, because if not, if the employer then starts pulling the goalposts, all of a sudden you felt you've had the rug pulled under you and you're like, okay, where else can I go looking?